Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are returning to War on the Sea, our Japanese Let's Play of this new game out by Killerfish Games, the developers of Cold Waters and Atlantic Fleet. In today's episode, we are returning to our series, following a day of quite a few air operations, both hitting an invasion task force of the Americans and wiping it out, as well as an American cruiser task force that closed within range of our aircraft carriers down here and attempted to gun them down. Fortunately, our dive bombers made short work of one of the enemy heavy cruisers and withdrew before the other three cruisers could hurt us. And we are moving into the nighttime phase of August 9th. We did spot an American carrier to the south at the beginning of the day, so if they do launch strikes against us, that would be unfortunate. There's about an hour and a half left of daylight in terms of launching aircraft, so we'll have to see how that all plays out. We also are bringing a new carrier that we just purchased, the Zuikaku, with a fresh complement of aircraft down from Naval, and she will be arriving hopefully by tomorrow morning. We know there's another enemy invasion task force coming up from New Hebrides. I'm assuming they won't get up here until tomorrow, but we also know there's a surface action group in the slot, as well as potentially another carrier group to the south. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right back in and see what the Allies have in store for us. You can see our carriers here are running north to try and get away from the enemy that did attack us. We've got a couple of fighter caps. Shortland. No. All right, so we spotted some more enemy. This is the enemy surface task force down here that had engaged us. They have one heavy cruiser left and two light cruisers. I am pulling my carriers north, so it is 16:49. We've got 11 minutes of daylight left. Might as well get another strike out against these guys. And I think rather than going with 5 torpedo bombers, we're going to go with, well, there's only a launch cooldown of 15 minutes. Let's go with the torpedo bombers. I like my odds of sinking one ship better with 5 torpedoes than with 11 dive bombers. That carrier hopefully should be out of range. Let's go into the... Can we launch yet? I'm guessing we can't. Yeah, 1/10 of an hour. Where are these guys going? They've got 4 nautical miles before they have to turn back. 3 Vals can come out of here. They can make it south. It may be too dark for them to drop, though, by the time they arrive. Thanks for the resub there, Mr. Thumb9. 3 months now. Appreciate the support. Why am I so early? I don't know. Why not? Why not stream a little bit earlier today? I didn't even have a stream on schedule for today, but I just decided, you know what, I'm in the mood to play. There's the enemy task force. So we've got one flight of 4 Kates, and then we've got a lone individual. Let's do this. Let's have the lone aircraft form up. So they'll all form up as one group. I'll turn back to the right. I guess actually technically the left. Space Junkie, thanks for the follow. Mass Effect 7774, thanks for the follow. You can see the enemy cruisers are down here to the south. I believe there's 2 Atlantis down here, and then 1 County class heavy cruiser. This aircraft is moving over to close in with us. We're apparently in a line ahead formation. I'd rather line abreast. God, I thought we were out of range. Flying parallel to enemy flak, generally not a good idea. All right. So there are 1 Atlanta, there's 2 Atlantas, a County class, and a destroyer. The Atlantas feel more valuable to me because the Allies only get, what are they, 6 of them, and we've already sunk 1. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have these first 3 aircraft form up and attack number 3. Then we'll have Kate's 4 and 5 form up and attack 4. And then we'll see what happens. So the aircraft are going to bank. They're probably going to circle for a little bit to drop their altitude, which is kind of unfortunate because it means they're going to take unnecessary flak damage. Well, it looks like at the moment they must be out of range because the enemy stopped firing their flak at us as we started diving down to the... Oh, they started again, so we must have been right on the extreme of range. I had hoped if we got down to lower altitude when we get down to the torpedo bombing that we would actually take less damage. Got to get all those pictures of the formations here with the enemy ships in the background. Man, that rear gunner's really exposed. He's going to get hit by a lot of flak just by shrapnel. All right, the 3 are banking off in the other direction. I'm assuming the enemy will keep shooting at these 3, which will leave these rear 2 in better shape to bomb the enemy cruiser at the end of the line with less risk of damage. But we'll see who gets shot at. They're not really coming in a great formation for a spread. Yep, they're firing at the group over here. They only tend to fire at one enemy group. Well, no, they're firing at both of us, I guess. All right, that lead aircraft is flying through hellfire. A little bit of crossfire between these 2 cruisers. That doesn't bode well. Oh no, the rearmost ship aircraft got hit. Just going down. Fish out on number 5, so 1 torpedo lined up. This guy's going down. Good thing for us. Oh god, the other Kates are just getting butchered. Did they get their fish off? Looks like 2 fish are headed toward that. 3 fish, all 3 fish got out. So they're going to wipe out this enemy attack, or this friendly attack. Oh my god, this Atlanta's a goner for sure. 3 torpedoes on number 3. This one, the torpedo went right under the hull. You can see the wake, so somehow the torpedo went directly under the hull of the rearmost Atlanta, but we got the 3rd one in line. 3 fish. She's a goner for sure. Pascabar, they are adding smoke screens. And they're also modifying the campaign in a really stupid and dumb way. 100 ships and you win. Sink 100 more enemy ships than you lose and the campaign auto ends. But I think that's in beta right now, so we'll see. Maybe they'll modify it. All right, so this Atlanta's going down. That means 2 Atlantas sunk. Really bummed we didn't at least put 1 fish into this guy. The smoke screens, I'll say, at least from a picture perspective or a screenshot perspective, look pretty cool. But anyway, so that first airstrike against this enemy group, actually I guess technically second. We already sank a heavy cruiser and a destroyer with dive bombers. Now we took out one of their light cruisers. So the task force is down to 1 heavy, 1 light, 1 destroyer. No, Arrow, I don't have the new War in the Pacific turn. I only sent it back to Lieutenant Rainbow 2 days ago, so I've seen the replay. I did actually sneak a little peek at it, but I have not yet played it because I don't have the turn to play. Burn, 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 burn goes the Atlanta. Slowly going under the waves. All right, we can drop out of here. 1 more enemy cruiser sunk, another Atlanta. 9 enemy command points gained, 5 aircraft loss. If we go to the losses screen, we have not lost a ship. We have lost 54 aircraft, so we've actually lost a fair number of aircraft. 54. The enemy, meanwhile, has lost 16 ships, only 8 aircraft, but 16 ships for 131,000 tons. A lot of that is merchant ships, but they have lost a fair number of heavies as well. They've lost a Northampton and a Portland and a Pensacola class heavy cruiser. They've lost 2 Atlanta class light cruisers, a Cleveland class light cruiser, Portland and Benson, and then a Porter. So 2 Porter classes and 1 Benson class destroyer sunk, a Gato class submarine sunk, and the remainder are all merchant ships. Yeah, Mr. Thome, I could definitely do more of that. I'm not sure, you know. The main criticism I have of Strategic Mind is the gameplay map just doesn't do a good job of conveying the important, like, where units are and stuff. And to me, that's a pretty big problem, if you ask me. But overall, the game is still really interesting, and I think a lot of it is actually fairly well done. Can Shikaku launch? Can we get another strike off tonight? We can. All right, we're going to get some valves off. We're going to have to hover around here a little bit, find the cruisers at night. All right, there we go. There they are. Okay, so let's move these dive bombers up here. We're going to bring the dive bombers from Shortland up as well, and we'll hit the enemy with 15 dive bombers in about half an hour. Hopefully it's light enough to launch. I'm not going to launch more aircraft from Shikaku because we don't have any more attack aircraft. All right, pause. Bring these valves up. So they're obviously chasing my cruisers, or my carriers, which feels like a bad idea when you're under heavy air attack from an enemy carrier. All right, tactical map, go. Thanks for the prime sub, Anaris Zahu. Who? Right, where are they? Where are they? They're here somewhere. Hopefully we can find them. You've got really shitty visibility in this poor light. There we go. We got him. All right. So group 1 or actually these 3 haven't turned. There we go. No, they're not squadrons. Squadron size in the game are 12, and you get like flights of 4, which is still small. Aircraft groupings in this game are not up to snuff. I think the carriers in game hold up to about 72 aircraft, 24 fighters, 24 dive bombers, 24 torpedo bombers. That's not off on the torpedo bomber size for the carriers, but it's a little low on the fighters and dive bomber size. And they tend to be, I believe, in squadrons of 12, whereas I believe in real life they were squadrons of 27. Right, so the Atlanta is at the rear of the enemy column. Then we've got the County class and then the destroyer in front. So we're going to pull the Atlanta, we're going to pull this lead group back a little bit. We'll have these groups all try and join up and attack in some semblance of order. Get these rear guys to speed up. I think it's also I think a big part of it's also UI, Pasco. I've no like insider knowledge, but the UI here would be really clunky. If you had, you know, 50 aircraft in an attack, which is definitely feasible, all the icons for the individual aircraft would be a little bit cumbersome. The most unrealistic part of the game? Ugh, I don't know what the... Good question. I don't know that I'm the one to answer that. All right, let's go for the rear ship here. We're roughly grouped up now. So we're going to go with 7 bombers on the Atlanta. And then we're going to go with 7 bombers on the County. Now, the risk here is that we don't sink either. But it might be enough. It was enough to sink. I mean, we get good hits. It could be anyway. Air-to-air combat's pretty bad. I love the flak, though, the way, like, the air attacks on ships work. And the ships don't maneuver enough while under attack. But I love the anti-aircraft fire. You can see they're shooting up at that other group that's coming in. Meanwhile, this group of 4 is coming in on the Atlanta untouched. That seems a little unrealistic, too. Ships only seem to be able to shoot at 1 target at a time. That was a good salvo there by that group. Second group of 3 coming in on the Atlanta. At least one more 250. The County class, I heard some explosions, but I don't know that we did a whole lot of damage to her. Looks like just 2 bombs. They might have been 60-kilogram bombs, too, by the looks of it. She's smoking, but not too badly. We've got the rear flight of 3 coming in and dropping. Some good hits there, though. All right, so the Atlanta is sinking. The County has suffered some pretty bad damage, although I'm not sure she'll sink. She does look like she's dead in the water. But the Atlanta is going under. So we got another one of them. Oh, we got them both. Nice. Production and supplies aren't really represented so much as you get the historical ships that your Navy has. Some of them weren't actually in the campaign, but you still get them. And supplies are represented by just like you get a replenishment rate every week. That replenishment rate in the next patch, I believe, is going to increase with the more enemy ships you sink of them than they of you, to reflect opening up sea lanes, which is actually kind of cool. We'll see how it plays. But you kind of have a fixed replenishment rate for supplies and troops. There goes the Atlanta. I mean, a lot of games don't represent production. It's an operational war game. There's not really any oil that's being produced in the South Pacific for the Japanese Navy, or the Americans for that matter. Okay, I'm just waiting to see her go under. I like to watch them sink. I like to watch them sink. Yeah, in RS, that's probably true. It's probably more of a game thing. I don't know how many bombs hit her exactly and what the weight of bombs were. The Yamato, when I tried to go for it, that felt very historical. I think I ended up sinking the Yamato with like 7 torpedoes and 18 2,000-pound bombs. That was a slog over like 7 or 8 different air raids. Yeah, fuel matters for the production of airfields. So you have a certain fixed amount of supply. Ground units use supply up as they fight. You also gain a certain amount of fuel every turn. Fuel has to be used to upgrade airfields. But I wish there was, I do wish it like required you to replenish your ship's fuel. You do have to replenish your ship's ammo. So like your ships will use up their ammunition and then they have to return to a port of a certain size. But there's no fuel, which is kind of an odd thing to leave out. Fuel was definitely important, especially in the South Pacific campaign, where you had like Fletcher falling back with the carriers claiming he needed to refuel them, and some controversy over that. Japanese didn't deploy Yamato because of fuel concerns. Planes now replenish once per day. Yes, Flying Scotsman. All right, so she's going down. So that means the task force just has a single enemy destroyer left somewhere. Sailed off on its own. Is she on fire? How is she on fire? I didn't even hit her. That's not a smoke screen, by the way. At least I don't think it's a smoke screen. It could be, but I don't think that patch is in yet. I suppose it could be a smoke screen. I can't really tell. Sure looks like more of a smoke screen than whatever. Alright, so 2 more enemy cruisers sunk, 20 more command points gained, 16,000 tons. Apparently our carrier was on the edge of the map. It was within range. And none of our aircraft were lost. So RTB boys, good job. I would imagine the one remaining enemy destroyer will probably turn back. It's now nighttime, so we can't launch further air operations. Oh, shit. All right. We will merge here. This should be 2. All right. So we're going to go ahead and send this carrier down to Guadalcanal. There's a chance the enemy may land right now. I don't have enough shipping there guarding the base right now, and they were bringing up an invasion task force, so we'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, Mr. Thom, thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. Very generous of you. Appreciate the support. Helps the channel out a lot. It could, I don't think, I've never seen exhaust represented in that way. I guess I'd put it that way. Could it be exhaust? Theoretically, sure. I've never seen it represented like that in game. All right, so it's nighttime, so we're going to fast forward here till 5 a.m. At 5 a.m., we'll get some aircraft up. Perhaps I should leave Task Force 1 south within range of being able to at least get its dive bombers up in the event that the enemy may be moving into land. We'll pull it back once the Suikaku arrives. But we're going to keep it out of the slot. We'll keep it to the north. All right. Air operations now available. Oak Tree, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Okay. So, it is daytime. We only have 12 zeros left, which means launching a whole bunch of them for recon. Maybe not the wisest play, but it is what we're going to do. Alright, so let's launch him down this way. I'll pull some aircraft off the islands to provide a little bit of cover for the carrier. You do also have float planes, but I don't have any cruisers that have them, so at least not right now deployed. It's also very tedious to set up patrols. There's no easy way of like just saying like, put up this many aircraft in a search arc around the carrier. God, that would be nice. The way that like War in the Pacific handles it. Also, a lot of times because of the way units work on this map, there's a little bit of pixel hunting to be like, where am I? You know, how do I click what I want to click? Come on. Gotta keep turning the aircraft on and off. I'm probably not putting together a very even sweep of aircraft. Alright, let's send one of these guys on a zigzag course. And then the last one will zigzag down the slot. Meanwhile, we'll send one of the Suikaku's groups up to guard the Shokaku. And then we'll send the Shortlands air groups up as well. Straight down the slot, max range. And using zeros is the best recon option for the Japanese because their range is so much better. Like, you could use Val dive bombers, which I think historically Vals or Kates were occasionally used for recon, but their range is like half the zeros, so why wouldn't I use the zero? Yeah, the pacing could use some work in terms of land versus naval combat. Naval combat tends to be like, oh, you sank their navy in like 2 weeks. Meanwhile, the land combat's like, yep, it's going to take us 3 months to eject the Japanese from this island. And it's kind of like, well, the pacing here is odd. All right, now I'm just clicking random places and trying to throw as many aircraft up as possible. Give me that morning recon report. All right, that should be good. Well, here we go. Aircraft are up. You can see them spreading out, fanning out here. There's probably going to be a bit of a gap over here. Right, there's the enemy invasion task force. No sign of enemy carriers yet. There's the destroyer from the task force that we sank, all but the destroyer. Enemy recon aircraft from carriers. There's 2 heavy cruisers with the merchants here. So let's do this. Task Force 1 can launch 11 Vals. That's all she's got left. Well within range. Task Force 2 can't launch the Vals yet, but it does have Kates in range. And then I think Shortland's dive bombers are out of range. Can't reach. Okay, so we've got 2 groups, torpedo bombers and dive bombers on the way. We'll also go ahead and get some Bettys up. They're slow as fuck, but they've got great range from Rabaul. Enemy ship spotted. Oh, we spotted more. So they've got 3 more. Okay. So 3 destroyers down here in the south. This is the 1 destroyer left from the task force we obliterated. And we've got 3 destroyers up here, and we've got 2 destroyers and 3 merchants coming up here. So 2 invasion task forces. This is the more immediate threat. Shokaku, well, she doesn't have any more. Yeah. All right, Zuikaku can launch another strike, so let's go ahead and get more aircraft off. We're going to go ahead and send some dive bombers off her decks. They'll be able to get there. They'll be at like max range. There we go. So these guys are how far out? Just shy of an hour. There's an hour cooldown after an attack, so we'll just start immediately with the 11 dive bombers, and then we'll do the torpedo bombers next. But I don't want to wait an hour. Okay, so these dive bombers... Let's put a flight of 4 in on each of the targets at the rear. All right, so we'll hit the 3 merchants at the rear of the column here. 4, 4, and 3. The only complaint I have is like the cockpits are glazed over, so you can't see in them. The models could be better, but I love when you pick an aircraft. Like let's pick this one here on the far edge of the formation. And then you kind of zoom over, you can just see all the aircraft in the horizon, just off in the distance. You can see the flak starting. First group's heading down. Second group's diving. Third group's diving now. Second ship in the formation got hit way worse by the looks of it. So 3 hits on target 8, quite a few hits on target 9, too many to count, and then actually a fair number on target 10. Looks like 1 Val is going in on the way out. Several are smoking. But you can see here the rear ship, she took some damage, but I don't think it was very bad. Middle ship may be in trouble. She's ablaze and looks low in the water and very badly beat up. And then the ship above it also is ablaze and in pretty rough shape. There's 3 more merchants in front of that, and then you've got the 2 heavy cruisers, it says. That doesn't look like a heavy. Is this a Brooklyn, maybe? And one of the treaty cruisers. All right, so what did we sink? Number 9 is sinking, so the middle ship in the task force here, sinking. One of the merchants is going down for sure. That might be the only one we get on this first attack. Let's fast forward a little bit and see. If there's another one that sinks, it's this one, I think. She is ablaze. All right, so we did get this one. Nice. So we did get 2 of the merchants to sink. This guy's not going to sink. So go ahead and drop out of here. We sank 2 of the rearmost merchant ships. That leaves 4, 1 with minor damage. One aircraft lost. Not bad at all. So we'll RTB with those dive bombers. These 12 Kates are going to come in with their torpedoes. I think what a better approach for the Kates is going to be is because torpedoes are so much more devastating to merchants, I feel like, than dive bombers. We'd go 3-3-3 on the 4 merchant ships. And we'd leave the more dangerous targets of the cruisers to the dive bombers because they're a little bit less valuable. That's where my gut's at. But that's going to do it for this episode of War on the Sea, a new game out by Killerfish Games, the developers of Atlantic Fleet and Cold Waters. We are absolutely savaging American task forces with dive bombers and torpedo bombers from our carriers. We're shifting around some carriers. We've got some reserves headed south. But so far, it's been a bit of a turkey shoot. The Allies keep sending ships forward, and our carrier aircraft keep pummeling them. Occasionally, American fighters show up from an American carrier that I can't seem to pin down, but generally speaking, not much of a challenge so far. The war is going pretty well. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts below. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.